anyone else have a fear of being average? Like, you think about your future and you immediately think of really big, extraordinary, significant goals. You might be the person that wants a simple life, but you want a simple life with financial freedom. Or you want a comfortable life with a very successful business. Or you want to be happy and fulfilled, but you don't want to be average. I feel like there's some of us that are really hardworking young people. We've been influenced by what we see on social media. We want extraordinary things for ourselves, and we put unnecessary significant pressure on ourselves to never be average. Like, the thought of getting older and having a normal life feels like you failed. Even though that's not a failure, that's just what social media wants you to think is a failure. Maybe you're working hard, you're in one of your first few jobs out of college, and you're wondering if your hard work will actually pay off for the future that you want. You see everyone else online, you scroll through Instagram and you scroll through TikTok, it seems everyone else has a life-changing year pretty much every year. You're waiting for your life-changing year to show up. When you have the blessing and the curse of being left to your own devices to craft the future that you want, you can either go as big as you want or as small as you want, as reserved as you want or as in the public eye as you want. It's hard to know what will make you happy. And combine that with the self-imposed pressure to never be average and almost win at life by the time you're 30, it puts you in a very sticky situation where you're almost in a rush to figure things out. In this video, I wanted to unpack the fear of being average and the race to excel and win and succeed and achieve all these things by 30. I wanted to unpack why so much of us feel pressure to not be normal and to not be average and to be everything and anything above that. And more importantly, I wanted to unpack whether this fear of being average and whether this immense pressure to succeed is actually holding us back from achieving what we want. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I'm your host, Christina, and I help people stop shrinking and start living. If you've clicked on this video, chances are you probably have a fear of being average. Or maybe you don't and you're just watching because you're curious. Either way, I have a few things that I wanted to share. I know for me, growing up as the classic outsider, weird, girl that has no friends and just sits on her own and has lunch, I spent so much of my teenage years, even partly early 20s, feeling behind, quote unquote. I felt behind socially. I felt behind in even romantically. I felt behind in my confidence. I wasn't as outgoing as I should be for a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old. And part of me, because I constantly felt behind, it was weirdly in the back of my mind that oh, I'll make up for it. By the time I'm 25, I'm going to do this. By the time I'm 30, I'm going to do this. Part of how I coped with the tough time that was high school and was early university days was telling myself okay, this is just temporary. You not being invited is temporary. You having no friends is temporary. When you're 25, when you're 30, you'll have this. You'll be working as this. You will have earned this. You'll have built this. You'll be living like this. Having grandiose and extremely big goals, almost how I got myself through those tough times. And maybe you feel the same. By the way, if you're watching this video, or maybe you've watched previous videos and you've ever felt like I'm speaking directly to you, it's because I am. I've been exactly where you are. So many of my videos, whether they're on social confidence, anxiety, coming out of your shell, being an introvert, dating, relationships, I know exactly what it's like to feel stuck in fear and to want to change but not really know what to do next. To know that you have so much potential but realize that you're not utilizing it. To want to be seen and appreciated for who you are but feel scared to take the first step. That's exactly why I've started one-to-one coaching. My one-to-one coaching is structured and personalized, where I'd help you go from overthinking and hiding to being comfortable in your own skin, speaking confidently, showing up fully, and just being your authentic self that you've always wanted to be. If that sounds like something you'd want to explore, then click on the link in the description box below and apply for a free 15-minute call. I'll tell you a little bit more about coaching and we can see if we'd be a good fit. I've already started coaching a couple of you guys already, so slots are filling up very quickly. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then do apply in the link in the description box below. If you're feeling pressured when it comes to achieving goals and success is something that you need to hurry up towards, then you're not alone. Barna released some very interesting data and statistics on Gen Z. Essentially, they did a whole publication sharing what are some of the beliefs and motivations shaping the next generation. And they found that 65% of 13 to 18-year-olds have the goal of being financially independent by age 30. This was in a combination with finishing their education, 66%, and starting their own career, 66%, by age 30. This doesn't really surprise me. The thing I would love to know more is the financially independent part, because that might mean different things to different people. Financially independent to me just means you have your own place, you look after yourself, you pay your own bills, you live on your own or with a partner or with your family. but like you don't rely on maybe parents to provide for you. But I know financially independent to some people might mean like more grandiose things. One thing that they did find in their research is that Gen Z does experience a significant amount of pressure. They found that 56% of Gen Z always or usually feel a pressure to be successful, and 42% always or usually feel a need to be perfect. Although this is sad, it kind of doesn't surprise me, and if anything, I imagine it will probably go up more in future. Like more than half of people feel a pressure to be successful always or usually. I think this is what happens when you tell a generation that the most important thing about you is how much you can achieve and how much you can give back to society, how much money you can earn, how impressive you are. Like, we haven't really been instilled with the belief that, like, you know, who you are as a person, your morals, your values, your compassion, like your kindness, that is the most important thing about you. I mean, maybe your family tells you that and your parents, like, that is amazing, but like society as a whole, which you could argue you spend more time in society, integrated, like in school, in education, in institutions, than with your family. And what you're surrounded by the most will have the most influence. So it doesn't surprise me that more than half of us feel the need to always be successful, because I feel like that's what society tells you is the most important thing about you. Next chapter I wanted to discuss is sometimes when you are this person, your happiness is dependent on some bad habits. Like, your happiness can be dependent on comparison. For you to feel like you've achieved enough by 30, you're 30 and like you're looking back at what you've done and you're like, oh, that's a great job. I did enough. I spent my 20s well. I did good things. I'm proud of that. For you to tick that box of like, I'm proud of myself, typically you have to compare. You have to look at what people from your high school did and what they're doing by 30. Oh, she's got 4 kids by 4 dads. Or you're looking at another guy. Oh, he's on benefits. He's never moved out of that town. He stayed in that small town the whole time. Oh, she's working as a lawyer. She's working as an astronaut. Or he's on the Forbes 30 under 30. Oh, she's a YouTuber. Like, for you to look at yourself and feel good or bad, you're relying on some bad habits like comparison. And it's significant because for a lot of people in their early 20s, like I'm sure a lot of you guys that are maybe watching this video, the reason you wake up and get out of bed every day and the reason that you have, I guess, a motivation to keep going is your future. And sometimes, like we said, these goals are partly for you, but then also partly to impress other people. And for you to arrive at the goal and feel like, oh, this was good enough. Like, I'm proud. This is me doing a great job. I'm amazing. Like, you need to compare and look at someone else. And the thing is with comparison, we occasionally feel good about ourselves. Like when you do compare yourself to the person on benefits or that has 12 children, like you might be like, oh, okay, I'm doing okay in life. I've not done much, but I've done enough because I'm better than that person. I'm better than him. You might feel good about yourself, but then I feel like that's only 20% of the time with comparison. 80% of the time, it's just you feeling terrible about yourself. Oh, I've not done enough. Oh, but me and her have achieved the same thing, but she did it in half the time. She's bought a house with her boyfriend. She's on the property ladder. This is something that's happened to me recently, actually. I feel like, I know at the start I said people are buying homes in their 30s, but recently on LinkedIn, I've seen a bunch of 23-year-olds buy homes. I don't know what LinkedIn is trying to tell me, whether I need to hurry up or not, but like that, I don't know. It's just, if I hadn't defined success for myself and if I wasn't really secure in like what I know will make me happy in the future, like my current goals of building a business one day where I can bring people together, like a really important value for me. Like my goals are now aligned with my values, inclusivity, growth, authenticity. Like I know working towards that goal, if I achieve the goal of building that business and building that career of being an author and this, like, you know, all these things, if I achieve it, amazing. If I don't, I also don't mind because I'm living a life aligned with my values. And I know it's not really the goal that makes you happy, achieving the goal. It's whether or not you're living in accordance with your values. On the topic of comparison, one of you guys sent in a voice note which I think explains this like beautifully.
I could say that I'm in a relatively competitive program full of people trying to get into other competitive programs, including med school, the classic example. And it's a good problem to have, in a sense, to be surrounded with people with big dreams. It makes for really awesome friends, but also this idea of, oh wow, all this effort that I made to get into this program into the first place, or to be surrounded by such people, could be a speck of dust compared to the progress they've made, to the stories they get to tell at such a young age. And it feels very draining to think of what these people are capable of and to not measure up, in a sense. And from that fear of being average, you have this sort of draining resolve that I might as well not try, because what if I fail?
I totally relate to what this person said about if I can't match up to their level, then why even try? So much of us assessing if we're doing a good job or not ride on comparison. It's rarely internally led. It's rarely like our own inner compass, our own values, our own ideas, like us blocking out the noise and just being like, no, what's good enough for me? And something that I've had to learn the hard way, especially like as a younger person in my early 20s, is if you've not crystal clear created a definition of success for yourself, what success means to you, what like you being successful looks like. I don't even mean just career, like really holistic in your relationships, in your health, in your wellness, in your spare time, like 360. What does success look like round the clock? If you don't know what that looks like for you, you're going to be so easily swayed, distracted by anything that you see online. I always find it really helpful to find out about big names that maybe you would have heard of, like celebrities, designers, musicians that have achieved success a lot later on in life. It almost gives me a little bit of reassurance, like, Christina, there's absolutely no rush. You do not need to complete life by 29. Like, there is time. The life expectancy is not 30. The life expectancy is 80 plus. Like, you have plenty of time to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So, for example, Vera Wang didn't design her first wedding dress until the age of 40. I don't know much about Vera Wang besides her princess perfume, but good to know. Viola Davis landed her first big role at the age of 43. That is actually quite helpful to know because a lot of actors as well, when you think about it, a lot of actors are older. Like, I don't know like a 21-year-old actress. Maybe besides Millie Bobby Brown, I feel like she's that age, but a lot of actors that I know are like 40, 50, 60. Jessica Chastain broke through in acting at the age of 34 and married at 40. I don't know who she is. Meghan Markle met Prince Harry at 35. Oh, okay. Vice President Kamala Harris became elected as district attorney at 40 and got married at 50. Do you know, sometimes when you hear about things like these and you see how late people achieve success, you don't even look at them as like late though. Like I don't look at Kamala Harris and think, oh, she was late, but she caught up. Like, I don't think that. I don't look at Viola Davis and think, oh, she was late in into her acting career, but she caught up. Like, what? I very much see all of these people, Vera Wang, Meghan Markle, like it seemed the appropriate time. It seemed like it happened at the right time. I don't know what happened before, but it seemed like they were very much on the right time frame. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are definitely not behind or lagging behind anyone when it comes to your achievements thus far in life. Please do not feel pressured to rush into these things because rushing into things always seems to have consequences. There's something about life and rushing which I don't think gels up well. Like, life seems to be something where you do need to take your time with things. Something else I've noticed is when we think about 30 as well, if there's for the early 20s amongst us, I'm sure there's maybe even people above 30 watching this video. When we think about 30, a lot of us think of it as like a finish line. Like, there's so much to do, so much to achieve before then, and like that's like the finish. Like after that, oof, like you're behind or like, you know, time's run out. Something that I've been reading recently is about the power of framing. Like, instead of to see 30 as a finish line, you can almost see it as a starting point. For example, if you were at the gym and you're doing some push-ups, depending on your framing, if I told you, oh, I've done 10 push-ups out of 20, you might see that as like, oh, I'm halfway done or I have halfway to go. Equally, you could be like, if a glass was half full or glass half empty. Like, that all depends on your framing. Equally, when you think about turning 30 and you're looking back on all the things that you've done so far, you can see it as this is what I've already done, or you can see it as this is what I'm building momentum towards. That really helped me when I read this. I'll try and link it down below if I can. I remember thinking like, oh wow, so I can look at 30 as like, oh, I'm building towards something. Like, I'm not finished yet. Like, 30 can be, I've still got so much more to go. I've just built the foundation, like I'm just getting started, like there is so much more potential. That was honestly so helpful for me because I would consider myself a glass half full person. I'd consider myself someone that's like optimistic, looking on the bright side. And I'm always that type of person with everyone else. Like, I'll look at someone else. If someone else was 29 and telling me that they felt really behind and like they're not good enough and like they have so much more to achieve, I'd be like, no, but you have so much time. It's just an arbitrary number. It's just 30. Like, what does that even mean? But then when it comes to myself, I'm like much harsher with myself. It doesn't help when there's like huge institutions that are all behind this as well. Forbes 30 under 30. They also have a Forbes 40 under 40, but no one ever talks about that. The one that gets all the press on the news, you see circulating on Instagram every year. I think every year it gets released. I always see the new people But the Forbes 40 under 40, no one ever talks about. A very strange but interesting and kind of helpful concept that I came across recently in a blog post is this concept called the eternal recurrence. I was reading a blog post talking about the trap of trying to reach your full potential. And in the blog post, it was talking about the fact that trying to reach your full potential, you don't realize, but your full potential is literally in so many different directions. You can have full potential in your career, which is what we all focus on. But then it can also be in your friendships, having like full potential, like, I don't know, having the most fruitful, compassionate, supportive friendships. And then it could also be like health and fitness. What if you have the power to run 3 marathons back to back? But you'd never know because you're only focused on one side. And then your full potential could also be like some other cooking thing and some other act. What if you be an amazing actor? You never know. The article was saying how your full potential is kind of a myth because it's literally so many things, but we only ever focus on just 1 or 2 areas. And so it's a bit of a trap to try and reach your full potential because you will only ever reach a limited sliver of your potential anyway. There's always more you could do, and trying to jump on the hamster wheel of chasing more and more just isn't helpful, and sometimes it can make you burnt out. But he did talk about in the article, I'm assuming it's a he, might be a she, eternal recurrence, which, so instead of trying to reach your full potential and maximize all the things that you can in a day, maximize all the things you can in a week, eternal recurrence talks about if you had to eternally live your life over and over again. You can do it on a small level, like the past day that you've had. Would you eternally be happy to live that day over and over again? Or if you had to eternally live the last week that you've had, would you be happy with the way that you've spent the week? The people you spent it with? How you spend, your weekend that week? And they were arguing whether or not this is actually a better measure of assessing whether or not you're living a good life and you're making the most of your time. Because if you're not living a week that you would want to live over and over again, then maybe things need to change. Like, I don't believe a good week is eliminating every single bad thing in a week, because I very much believe in like yin and yang. Like, every single good thing in your life will inevitably come with a bit of bad. And every single bad thing in your life will inevitably come with a bit of good. Like, there is always yin and yang to everything. Like, I don't think there's a chance, you've probably lived like your ideal perfect week already, but it didn't feel perfect. It didn't feel ideal because you were maybe hoping that like in a perfect week, it wouldn't be raining. Like, I would have, it'd be perfect weather. A perfect week, I wouldn't have to get the bus. I'd have my own car. But like you can't always predict how happy you'll be in future circumstances. How do you know you won't actually get a car one day and you'll hate driving? Like, how do you know you don't hate traffic? Being in traffic as a passenger versus traffic as like the driver is kind of different. How do you know you've not already had a very good, like pretty amazing, borderline perfect week already? Perfect doesn't mean that it comes with 0 negatives. It just means like it's the perfect balance of good and bad. Comment a cherry emoji if you made it all the way to the end. I'd be very annoyed because I've been speaking for nearly an hour now. I enjoyed filming this. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about 30? How do you feel about living up to your full potential? That is my time to wrap up the video. How do you feel about the thought of living a normal life? Does that fill you with like crippling worry and fear? Because it used to fill me with that feeling, whereas now I'm actually a lot more at peace with it. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy this one where I talk about how Gen Z has like a wealth by any means necessary attitude. Gen Z wants success at all costs, and that's something that I unpack in this video.